What's up guys, welcome back to our new Kengan Ashura vs Baki What If battle. Today we have Almighty Beard Kuroki Gensai from Kengan Ashura up against Doppo Orochi from Baki. Keep in mind that these cross-verse What If battles are just for fun, so don't take them too serious, but yep, hope you enjoy. Now, let's go. My goal for 2020 was to reach 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube, so be a mad lad and subscribe alongside these other cool things. Now, enjoy the video. So Kuroki Gensai, also known as the Devil Lance, is the absolute god and the winner of the Kengan Ashura Annihilation Tournament, absolute beast. His current age in Omega is 53, with him being around 6 foot, 6'1", and around 95 to 100 kilograms. Kengan wins 5 all in the tournament, Kengan losses 0, because he's an absolute beast, with him most likely being the strongest character we've seen fight so far in the series. There could be arguments that maybe Gaio Mukaku is stronger than Kuroki Gensai, but I'll leave that to the other day. Kuroki Gensai number 1 or number 2 from characters we've seen so far in the story. During the Kengan Annihilation Tournament, he started off round 1 defeating Rita, a lower end fighter at that point in the story, but then after that proceeded to defeat 4 characters who are also in the top 10 strongest in the story. Next round he defeated Kiru Setuna, a character who has one of the most hacks abilities in the whole series. Defeated him, went on to the round after that, defeated Ray, the fastest speed-based character in the whole series. And then after that, decided to, defeat Kano Gito, the second strongest character in the Annihilation Tournament. And then in the final, defeated the protagonist of the story, Kengan Ashura, and most likely third strongest in the Annihilation Tournament, Tokita Oma. Kuroki Gensai just slayed them all. What an absolute beast. And now in Omega, he just, one karate chop knocked out Falcon after Falcon's fight with Rito. Absolute beastly god. And then his power and abilities. He's the master of the K1 style, which is an extremely powerful unarmed combat based martial art that has insanely powerful skills. He has insane foresight, if not the most foresight in the whole Kengan Ashura series. An argument could be made that Canada may have more, but either way he's either rank 1 or rank 2 in regards to that. And he's also considered a character with a perfect defense that was showcased during the Annihilation Tournament in all his fights against top tier fighters. His most noted technique that he's used throughout the series is of course the Devil Lance, which is able to pierce through solid steel with absolute ease. And then paired with this, he's considered the character that is able to use a technique at the right moment anytime. That's how he's able to most likely defeat Kano Gito when Kano Gito is going to unleash the Dragon Shot. The perfect timing throughout the whole story with Kuroki Gensai's placement of attacks. And he's also a character that doesn't really waste any moves and considered maybe the perfect fighter in the series. And he's also able to retract his muscles so much that he can fix broken fingers or make his broken fingers into a Devil Lance while fighting due to all the training he has done over time. And also being able to, use sheer force alone to, fix broken bones and dislocated body parts as well. So that's Kuroki Gensai. Now on to our big boy, Doppo Orochi, who has a large variety of nicknames throughout the series, such as God of War, Man-Eater Orochi, Tiger Slayer, and other ones. He's considered a Grandmaster of Karate and the father of Katsumi Orochi, another character from Baki. His current age is 56, so he's 2 years older than Kuroki Gensai, about the same age. His height is 5'9", 5'10", around that range, and his weight is 110 kilograms. So a little bit shorter, but a little bit heavier, with him having a little bit more muscle than Kuroki Gensai. Now onto some of the fights he went through throughout the Baki series so far. So as we know, he was wrecked by Yujiro near the start of the series, but everyone gets wrecked by Yujiro and Baki, so that's just to be expected. That's where he lost one of his eyes in that battle. His next major battle was during the Maximum Tournament semi-finals, I believe, where he faced Goki and was defeated extremely high difficulty. Still one of the best fights in the whole series, very close fight, but he was actually defeated high difficulty by Goki. He appears again in the Most Evil Death Row Convict Saga, where he fights Dorian. He actually loses an arm during his fight with Dorian, or initial fight with Dorian, but he pretty much bested Dorian as a whole with all the fights they had throughout that arc. And he did get his hand fixed or arm fixed after this arc occurred as well, so he does have 2 hands later on or within this what if battle I'm going to be doing. But yeah, defeated Dorian, pretty much defeated, I'm just going to say he defeated him. He had had 2 battles against Ali Jr. First one he was defeated where he wasn't really trying, kind of got surprised a little bit. Then the second one he wrecked Ali Jr. Of course he's stronger than Ali Jr. And then we don't really see him for a while. We do see him when Katsumi went to fight Pickle, but he didn't really do anything during that arc as well. We get to see him in the Miyamoto arc, but as we know, Miyamoto was the user of that arc and wrecked Doppo Orochi during that arc. So yeah, unlucky to Doppo Orochi there. And then the most recent fight we've seen him is in the sumo tournament, where he was able to get a dub against his sumo wrestler opponent. About 40 to 50% difficulty. It wasn't that hard in my opinion. Now onto his power and abilities. So I personally place him just outside the top 10 strongest in the whole Baki series. I talked about this in my top 10 strongest in Baki video I made, where I had him and various other characters fighting for 10th spot, but I decided not to give it to him. And based on what we've seen throughout the story, I think it's pretty reasonable. He's around maybe 12, 11 or 13, around that range in the Baki universe. But here's one of the fighters that kind of went toe to toe, not really with Yujiro Hanma, the other ones being Baki and Kayakaku, but as we know, Yujiro just wrecks everyone, so you can't really give that a real like feat pretty much. It's also good to mention about one of his fights that we didn't really actually see. Wasn't really a fight where he pretty much attacked Yujiro Hanma, the father of Yujiro Hanma, with him possibly being the only character that is stronger than Yujiro in the whole series that we've seen, but we do not know that. But yeah, he did actually attack him. Yujiro didn't fight back and really kind of brushed off. He did have a little bit of damage from that, but it wasn't really a fight. It was really just Doppo being pissed at him and attacking. Now onto, you know, some of his techniques and stuff. As we know, the karate practitioner, if not the best karate user in the whole Baki verse, a well-oiled machine when it comes to karate, respected by a large variety of the characters throughout the series, including Baki, who has actually never had a battle with him. We've seen many parts where Doppo actually wanted to fight Baki, but Bucky's always kind of brushed him off. It could be brought down to that Baki respects him, or that he doesn't really think Doppo is a worthy opponent of him at this point in the story. He's very analytical and one of the smarter characters in the series. This is also another reason I wanted to do the matchup with Kuroki Gensai. His karate chop is so powerful, it's able to pretty much chop concrete, stone, ice, and pierce steel wire in half. That's how strong his pretty much chop is. And apart from that, he's able to one-shot a Siberian tiger with this technique, which is pretty impressive in my opinion. He has various named techniques throughout the series. I won't mention them all. Most of them are karate-based techniques, but he has a large variety of this karate moves pretty much. He doesn't really go into anything else, but he has trained a lot throughout the series, even continues to train as the story goes on in Baki Do now. This everything about him is to train, get stronger and stronger. So he has been improving with his older age, with him being around the same age as Kuroki Gensai. Now onto the what if battle. So when it comes to piercing power with their techniques, with the Devil Lance versus Doppo's karate chop, I think Kuroki has a little bit of an advantage, a little bit of a power difference or increase over Doppo Orochi when it comes to that, but it doesn't really matter. They're not really doing a competition of piercing still, they're piercing each other, so both techniques will do quite a bit of damage if they landed on one another. When it comes to raw physical strength, I think Doppo Orochi has the advantage. This is mainly due to being around in the Bakiverse and being able to have fights with vastly stronger characters than what we've seen in the Kangenverse. So with raw physical strength, I do think Doppo Orochi has the advantage. When it comes to speed, it's a very interesting one because Kuroki Gensai hasn't really shown his max speed. As we know, more of a defensive fighter, waiting for his opponent to attack and, you know, perfect timing, counter attacks and everything regarding that. So with that, I'm going to say Doppo Orochi has the speed advantage, but for the what if fight, I think Doppo Orochi will always be the aggressor during this fight, and most fights against Kuroki will most likely end with Kuroki being defensive and his opponent being the aggressor, just based on how he fights and how he wins fights throughout the series as shown. When it comes to durability as well, I think Katsumi also has the advantage when it comes to that. Kuroki Gensai had shown some insane durability, but mainly due to his, you know, insane foresight not allowing him to take a lot of damage, with Doppo Orochi not having the same amount of foresight or, you know, ability to counterattack, but he does have the ability to tank a lot more damage as shown with him, you know, taking blows from Yujiro and various other characters throughout the series as well. So now on to what would happen in the fight. So as we know, Doppo Orochi will be the aggressor. He'll attack first. His speed at first may catch Kuroki off guard, but I think Kuroki's foresight is good enough to see it coming. So near the early parts of the fight will be largely in Kuroki's advantage. I think Kuroki will try to go for a counter attack, or will be waiting for the perfect opportunity to go for a counter attack. Kuroki Kuroki Gensai will be aware of Doppo Orochi's power, and Doppo Orochi will be thinking the same, waiting for maybe Kuroki Gensai to mess up and go for his own counterattack. But as we know, Kuroki Gensai just doesn't mess up, the perfect fighter, perfect foresight, all that. So Doppo Orochi will keep being the aggressor, and this is where most likely the first Devil Lance will end up landing due to Doppo Orochi maybe messing up or maybe getting too aggressive in the fight, and then Kuroki Gensai waiting for the perfect moment hits one Devil Lance. You could argue that it'll maybe take 3 or 4 direct Devil Lance hits to take out someone like Doppo Orochi. So after this first Devil Lance, which will be a direct hit, lands on Doppo Orochi, this is where baki characters, after getting really injured, they tend to, you know, go to a suicidal fighting style kind of, where they just put everything into offensive. They take as much damage as they can take and they keep fighting, and this is where Doppo Orochi will end up getting very close to Kuroki Gensai and also be able to land a large variety of attacks on Kuroki Gensai, and this will most likely put Kuroki Gensai to the amount of injuries he had received by the end of the Annihilation Tournament after fighting Oma, Kano, Rei, Ryuto, and Kiryu. That's the amount of damage he'll take from maybe one Fury of Blows from Doppo Orochi, in my opinion. And then after that, or while Doppo Orochi was trying to attack Kuroki Gensai, or when he was trying to aggress to get closer to this, Kuroki Gensai would have landed 2 more full power Devil Lances on Doppo Orochi. So at this point, Doppo Orochi is on the brink of death, maybe 1 Devil Lance away from death, and Kuroki Gensai is maybe 65 to maybe 70% injured. It could be even lower, but based on how much power and technique Doppo Orochi has, I think that will be a good estimate in my opinion. And then the remainder of the fight will just be who can stand longest. You could say that, you know, the big Fury of Blows would keep going until Kuroki Gensai is able to land the 4th Devil Lance and finish Doppo Orochi. And if this is the case, how the fight turns out, I think Kuroki Gensai will be about 80 to 85% injured. So he won't be on the brink of death, but he'll be largely injured and won't be fighting anyone else after this. And I think with that, Kuroki Gensai would be the victor. That's only if Doppo Orochi chooses to fight super aggressive. He could decide to fight super slow in this fight, but I don't think that's how it's going to turn out based on his personality and everything that we've seen throughout the series, and Kuroki Gensai not really being the aggressor for all his fights. Kuroki Gensai does have some other techniques such as the straight punch, 6 strikes, but they won't really, you know, do too much to Doppo Orochi. Most likely will need to rely on the Devil Lance for his various attacks. As we know, Doppo Orochi has an insane amount of techniques, like there's too many to really name, but most of those will come out during his Fury of Blows, dealing all the damage to Kuroki Gensai. But I do think Kuroki Gensai gets this win about 85 to 90% difficulty. As we know, he probably used 100% effort during this fight, just surely based on the amount of damage he would have taken, which is probably in the 80% range. And yep, that's the what if battle of Kuroki Gensai versus Doppo Orochi in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts of this down in the comments. Agree with me, disagree with me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and yep, that's it guys. Peace.